Hello viewers, welcome to the Sensor 360 Investor channel, where we use best practices from the companies we invest in around the globe and apply those to the investing process. Today's video, we are going to focus in on markets, and we'll do a checkup on where the markets are and potentially where they could be going and the events that may impact markets this week. Okay, so before we begin, a quick word about the disclaimer. This is not providing financial advice. Please pause, read, and then continue. Okay, so without much further ado, let's carry on with the show. Well, I moved up the economic calendar to the front because when we're talking about the markets, and we need the context of what may occur in the upcoming week that could be news impact worthy on the markets. And we do have this week with the FOMC's meeting Tuesday and Wednesday, so that definitely could give us a direction on the markets in the short term. We also have the CPI print that's going to come out Tuesday, so depending on how that turns out, hot, cold, or indifferent, could also move the markets, and this could determine whether we end up getting the year-end rally or we don't. So this is a critical week. All right, so moving on to the markets themselves in terms of looking at the S&P 500. Also, I'll rearrange the charts a little bit. So let's just take a look at the 5-day and the 25-day action. So in terms of the 5-day, 25-day and 5-day action, in terms of on the buy side, so we have 3 days of accumulation types of days over the 25, none in the past 5 weeks. On the sell side, we have 3 days of notable selling on the over 25 days, and 2 came in this past week. And so you can see those 2 are clearly showed by these 2 long red candles down here. The market is trading above the 50-day moving average, so I put that little marker in there because that's an important technical piece of information. And then over the past 25 days, we can see that still the 5 up days haven't really added to it, but we've gone up on the down days by a couple from here. So overall the picture has weakened, and we can see a little bit more selling has come in into this market. All right, so if we go out to the long view, so we remain locked in this downtrend channel. Maybe, as I pointed out last week, we could be putting a sideways channel in action. But at the top of that kind of resistance area up here, we also have resistance on this moving average coming down here. And then we had support in this zone down here. So we had painted this a long time ago in the expectation that before it's all said and done, we could come down to this zone or this zone before it's all said and done. So critical week this week with the news and where the markets are positioned. Let's zoom in and take a look at the daily. And so on the daily, we can see here's the support zones, the undercut. Then we took off from the October lows, and we had a fairly decent run, although there was some obviously volatility involved. Now we've hit the upper end resistance zones when we've worked our way back down. So it remains to be seen whether we can hold this mini support zone area here around 3,900. It's also a kind of a logical century mark, or we find support there and we start to into the year-end rally, go back and retest 4,100. And if you're very optimistic, even maybe test out the 4,300, which is in the time left available. It's doable, but not looking as likely to get up to here. But you never know. So things to watch out for this week are, the other thing is we've got 3 or 4 days of stabilization at support in this zone. So that needs to get resolved either to the upside or to the downside. So whichever way we break out of this little zone here could telegraph the direction next. And then if we take a look at the hour chart, so overall we've been making a move to the upside And then we haven't really done anything since the 14th. So we just kind of chopped sideways. So here's the moonshot that we had on Fed Chair Powell's interview, and then we've given all of that back, and then some bounced off a little support zone here, but it now remains to be seen as to where we go next from here, with resistance above getting stronger. So let's watch what happens during this kind of period of stabilization. Okay, on to the treasuries, and then the 10-year treasury. We can see how we've been coming down, but now we're at a point where are we ready to make a turn, since we're at some kind of short-term support zones there. And on the TLT, we hit resistance areas up here, and it looks like we're kind of working our way down from there. And this is the coral contra move to this move over here. So they're working in inverse directions. And then looking at the junk treasuries here, junk bonds, we can see that for the small period there was some risk going on, but again, hitting some short-term resistance zones, and looks like we may be pulling in a tad back in here. 10-year treasuries and the 2-year treasuries, we can see the yield curve and the short end still remains inverted, so that is not a good sign. And the equity risk premium is still not in our favor. And a quick look at a few more components of the market. So the purple line is the S&P 500 has been moving up as the yields came in. You can see how the yields, 30-year and the 10-year, both hooked up now. That's 10-year, 3-year. And the dollar's been moving down, so that's helped the markets as well, but it's trying to find a little floor or support. So that needs to be watched as well in the direction of the dollar, because that will impact the earnings reports, upcoming earnings reports from especially the larger corporations with international exposure in terms of their foreign exchange bookings. I didn't update the call this week, so let's go into the VIX. I pointed out the VIX, how we were kind of hitting this 20 zone and coming back in, and then we were getting these little high areas, and they were where the market was kind of taking off. So we were looking for stabilization, and we didn't quite get that at these lows after it undercut the 20. However, we have got a few days of stabilization up here at the 22 mark, and here we had stabilization, but then a bounce up, a couple of days of rest, and then moves up. Stabilization, a bit choppy here, moves up, stabilization, and then a little choppiness here, stabilization before it moves up. So this could go on for a few more days up here, but whichever way this breaks is likely to indicate the direction of the market move. So let's see what the VIX does. Okay, in terms of more other sentiment indicators, so we've seen that there's a little bit more froth as the buying's come in, as the market's moved up, and this is contrary. So the further down here you get, you want to be really taking profits. Further over here, you want to think about adding exposure. So we're kind of at that cusp right now where you might want to at least be making sure you're on top of your stops for your shorter term trading. One stock reporting this week, or company reporting this week, is Cooper. Estimated earnings is 0.11 cents. Reports on the 12th, and prediction is mild wheat. Okay, stock idea for the week is Raytheon Technologies Corporation. It's a defense contractor. It's been working its way up, and obviously, with the climate in Europe, all of the aero defense companies are doing pretty good. And a little about consolidation is on here. And that's working its way back up to it. So that's the one stock idea for the week. And then in our little tracker over here, so Raymond James was the stock of the pick of the week. on November 12th. It's now gone 4 weeks, and at the 4 week point, it was down 7.6%. It did trigger an earlier exit at 5.7, and I would continue to track that. The next area to track will be the 13 weeks, but I won't be tracking in this video. And then next week we'll take a look at FANG, and then I added Raytheon down here. So, but as I mentioned before, as these fall off, this will all roll up, and we'll get a new entry next week. Okay, so that was the update on the markets. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Appreciate it. If you like this, give it the thumbs up and share with your family and friends. If you're inclined to, please leave a comment. Hope this was useful and gave you some markers for market events coming up this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.